In your lawn and garden, there are snails. Maybe you can only see them out at 2 a.m. when you walk your dog because you're done binge watching on Netflix. I like having snails around because they have a lot of good uses. Like if you find out someone doesn't like snails, you can immediately know you don't have to put any effort into being that person's friend. Think of it as a litmus test for telling if someone is a good human being. Some people don't like snails and want them out of their garden. My apartment complex wastes money on snail poison, which is dumb. Like, just use old coffee grounds. Snails hate caffeine. I don't know why they hate money and the environment. But let me introduce you to the common garden snail. This is a common garden snail, Cornu aspersum. They're really easy to identify, like a slug with a house. The shell is the best way to identify them. More specifically, you're going to see an adult with a calcareous shell, an inch to inch and a half diameter, and an inch to inch and a third height, with 4 or 5 clockwise whorls. The shell is variable in color, dark brown to golden brown, mostly a handsome chestnut color. While you can see yellow stripes, flecks, or streaks, you want to watch for characteristically interrupted brown colored bands. You're mostly going to catch them running around at night, feeding on plant matter, and sometimes eating another crushed snail or worm. This is apparently a rare meal to catch a snail eating. I felt pretty lucky to be able to watch it. These snails are originally from the Mediterranean and West Europe. They were spread here from Europe by accidentally being brought with plants and produce, or maybe even intentionally. We don't know. They do well here because California has a Mediterranean climate. In some parts of the world, they are seen as a pest, and other parts as a food delicacy. I'm guessing they're seen as pests here because I would never eat the parasite-infested little creatures. Maybe they're on the menu at Tim Hortons or something. I don't know. That's Canada's problem if it is. But they aren't out every night. Just Tuesday nights when the sprinklers come on at my apartments. They hibernate during the day. It doesn't rain in California anymore, so you don't see them out after the rain. But I imagine if it ever starts raining again, you'll see more little snail buddies out. So how does a snail deal with harsh environmental conditions, like low humidity, high heat, and lack of available food? They don't. Why suffer when you can go back into your home and play Xbox, right? So they hide inside their shells during dry or cold periods to avoid dealing with poor conditions. The snails have quiescent periods where they undergo estivation, an animal dormancy similar to hibernation. Its quiescence during winter is called overwintering. They will find a safe and cool spot to rest. They will usually climb the side of a wall or a plant to get off the ground and away from ants. I live on a second-story apartment, and I've had one stick to my window. But they usually stay less than a meter off the ground. Once they find a good spot, they form a thin membrane out of dried layer of mucus, called an epiphygram. This allows for osmoregulation, gas exchange, and best of all, they keep uninvited ants out. Some snails over in Asia use their epiphygram to prevent being digested in birds, and pass harmlessly out the cloaca with the feces, possibly to a better feeding area. Not these snails, though. I see them smashed open by crows. Crows are smart. As I just said, they rely on their epiphygram because they have no permanent operculum. But when do they know to waste energy on creating one? When do they know it's safe to come out? I've seen snails come out during the day. I've seen them come out at night. I've seen them come out when it's wet, but not really when it's dry unless it's been extremely humid. When it's been cool, but never when it's been too hot. I propose a study to see at what temperatures snails determine their need to go dormant until better conditions arrive, and when to reactivate themselves to go feast, drink, mate, and make merry. To quantify exactly how much of a role humidity, light levels, and temperature have on the effects of triggering dormancy and activation, a humidity-controlled environment will have snails put in it, with food, water, and some Deftones playing to simulate their environment outside my bedroom window. From a standard room temperature start, the temperature will be slowly lowered. Then again, from the starting temperature, we slowly raise the temperature. We mark the temperature when they arise or go quiet. After that, another run of standard and controlled temperature, but slowly raise the relative humidity. Then repeat, but slowly lower the humidity. Do snails respond better to high humidity? Do they wake up from dormancy when it's nice and humid enough to function? When both of these trials are done, we will have an optimal temperature and humidity range. Then we do the experiment again. Just now with low light to simulate dawn and dusk, bright light to simulate noon light, and no light to simulate the nighttime. Do they prefer the hard to see cusp of twilight, or do they like the darkness of night? This will give us a better understanding of what signals snails use to help identify environmental patterns that are favorable and unfavorable. We may be even able to apply this knowledge to other species with a similar niche to snails, but a more cryptic lifestyle.